top this evening when I heard music echo through the night. So I started running so I wouldn't be too late. In the neon light, what the music gon' reveal through the night.
Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Raridan and I'll be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about, does changing your mindset really affect your life? It's one of the many skepticisms I get when people call me and they say, does this really work? Well, depends. Do you want it to work? Because if you're going to get in the way to that mindset shift, then for you it might not work. But if you're open and you're willing to allow change in your life, anything can be possible. So that's what we're going to be talking about and breaking down today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and to always share this video and our audio to help build a community of like-minded individuals that have a positive mindset and aim to reach a better tomorrow. Now, getting into why changing your mindset, right? There has to be a motive, because if we don't have that motive to change our mindset, we're not going to push ourselves to get there. Many people think that they can just wake up one day and my mindset changed. The brain is not going to do that. As much as I wish that was possible, the brain has to either have a trauma or a realization somehow. The good thing is that the trauma doesn't have to be anything severe. Maybe you stubbed your toe, a moment of pain. But if you lost someone that you love dearly, if you had a change in career because you were fired or lost your job, or if you're going bankrupt, those type of traumas are a big wake-up call for many people. And those people come to me after the fact. So I have a lot of damage mitigation that has to happen in our initial month of coaching. And then we can get into the nitty-gritty. Because my first goal typically with these people is stop the bleeding. Now the bleeding might be healing, but if we are in a position where things are not going our way, we fix it and then we make everything better. Now, this is not a band-aid. This is the first step to control our situation and then have the situation be resolved. So it's more to mindset than just saying, hey, I want to change. Hey, wouldn't it be nice if I did this year? There's more to that. We're going to get into the blog that is going to be talking about all about if changing your mindset can really change your life. So here we have the most recent blog. You go over to rivenconcepts.com, head over to resources and then blog. And then you can see that changing your mindset affects your life is going to be the most recent blog that came out. As you know, last week we spoke about the difference between mindset of leaders and followers. But now we're getting into the realm of, well, do I even have to change my mindset? What is a mindset coach? And many people don't even realize what's really happening. Well, if we think about the state of the world, it's in chaos. And that's not me being optimistic. That's me saying, hey, this is the reality of where we are as a society, as a people. Many people are struggling, and it's only going to get worse this year. I wish I could say 2022 was going to be a better year than 2020, 2021, but it's not looking so. And this is me not being pessimistic. This is me being real with you. I would rather you be prepared than be unequipped to handle any situation that comes your way. So what type of mindset do we need in order to handle all the crap that's coming our way? Well, we're going to need a strong one, where we are going to need a mindset that's going to help us get to where we want to be. So changing that mindset is going to be the first step. And this blog is going to be talking about, number one, finding your why. I said it earlier. We need to understand why we change our mindset. Otherwise, it's kind of like we're just doing whatever and it doesn't really make a difference. Then after you figured out why you want to change your mindset, you have to figure out, well, what type of mindset do you want to change it to? There are many types of mindsets. You can have a work ethic mindset. You can have a relationship ethic mindset. Whatever type of mindset you're looking for, that's the mindset that you're going to be looking at and looking to develop. Now, I always recommend when we're going down the path of mindset, let's focus on one thing at a time. So even on my website, if we go to services, you'll see that there's life coaching, mindset coaching. It's just a synonymous term. Youth mentoring, career coaching, health and fitness coaching, and relationship coaching. Now, someone might come to me and they might say, I need help with my career and my kids and my health. And I tell them, okay, we can get going. Which one do you want to start with? And then they're like, well, can't we do them all at once? I was like, we can dabble in other areas. So the main area that we work on will affect the other areas, but we don't make that area the prime focus. And that is because our brain is kind of tricky, where if we focus on too many different things, similar to multitasking, we become less effective. So we're trying to be as effective as possible. So we make our mind look at one thing. So if we want to look at life coaching or personal development coaching or mindset coaching, we look at just that aspect. And then it affects every other area of your life. So it's like a cascading type of healing. When we start to change our mindset, we get into a different type of thinking. Now we're going to start to live in the moment, right? We want to live in the moment. We want to be free. And we want to understand that, well, life is more than just going to work 9 to 5, coming home, spending time with the family, and then doing it all again until 65. Life is more than that. So we have to figure out what that is for us and then how to get it. So let's dive into that. When you start to change your mindset, you're going to be trying to figure out, well, what's what, and it's going to be a messy situation in the beginning. You might actually feel that your life is becoming more crazy, more hectic than if you were doing the work to get everything resolved. I understand the concept of dirtying up a room to tidy one corner at a time. I did that when I was a kid. When I had to clean my room, the open space was pretty clean, but there was maybe clothes in a corner, books in a corner, papers in a corner, whatever. It was a lot more work that needed to be fixed, and the room couldn't be cleaned with me just looking at, okay, well, let me get all the clothes, and then I'm walking around the room getting all the clothes. It was me, so, okay, let me start in one corner and then throw everything in the open space, make this corner as perfect as possible, and then do chunking. So think of a square or a square foot of a room, whatever you want, and just make, okay, this is 1 foot square, and every 1 foot square you want to make sure it's perfect. So that's what I did for the room. And it took quite some time. It would take me sometimes hour, 2 hours to clean my room. I don't have to live like that anymore because I don't allow my home to get that way. But when I was younger, I had to realize that I don't clean my room just by saying, okay, well, I'm going to get all the clothes first. Then I'm going to pick up all the papers. Then I'm going to vacuum. There's a certain order. Because if I have a list of how to clean a room, and if I say you have to vacuum, you have to dust, you have to pick up all the dirty laundry, you have to put all the papers and gubbins away in their rightful place, you might vacuum first. So you're vacuuming up all your clothes, all your objects on the floor. The floor is not clean yet. So there's a process that has to happen, right? We have to be able to follow through with what is appropriate initially. And when we change our mindset, we do have to understand that there's going to be a right step initially, and then there's going to be a wrong step initially. Depending on where you are, we will look at which step you need to take. Now, you can be hard on yourself or you could be easy on yourself, doesn't matter. But what we're looking for is, do we need to do a complete overhaul, toss everything out and start over? Or can we salvage some of the things that you have already done and then go from there? Sometimes people feel like they can salvage things that are unsalvageable. And they will feel a certain way because they're trying to keep everything, but everything that they have is not appropriate for what we're doing or what we're trying to change our life to. Similar to if you wanted to lose weight. Maybe you have a lot of potato chips, ice cream in the home, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to lose some weight. I want to lose some weight. How do I do that? All right, I got to stop eating potato chips, ice cream, pizza, all that stuff. So what do? Do we just throw all the food away in our home and say, okay, well, getting rid of all the chips, getting rid of all this? You can do that, right? Because if it's there, it's going to be a bigger distraction for me. I know if I have some ice cream in the freezer, it's going to be more tempting than if I didn't have ice cream in the freezer. Because if I wanted something sweet or something cold, I can say, well, let me get some water. Versus, oh, I got ice cream. That's an easier option for me. So I always choose to make sure my home is filled with things that I can eat, that I can enjoy, that are also healthy. So it's similar to the same concept of cleaning one corner of the room, where now my kitchen is one corner of the mind, one corner of the home that doesn't have those negative things or those sweets or those salty, savory snacks that make me unhealthy. Our mind is the same way when we put in different things. We might be thinking in a certain manner, whether it be by watching social media, news, the podcasts or books we listen to, the blog articles we read. All of those different things are going to have an impact on our mind. Now, we might not think it does because we enjoy it, but it does. So if you're watching maybe a news network or something happening in the world around you that is not positive or uplifting, then you're going to start to think about that. You're going to start to weigh heavy on what had just happened or what you just saw. We have to understand, if we fill our life with positive things can start to happen in our life. And I'm not saying you can't get lucky, right? You might be able to get lucky, and then a negative thing happens in your life and you're like, okay, well, whatever. I'm not going to be negative because of that. Or you might be thinking negative and something bad happens and you just say, well, it was always meant to be this way. That's just how I think. We don't have to be in a certain state of mind per se to get things. Luck is always a factor, but luck shouldn't be our factor. And I think sometimes people misunderstand what mindset is. Mindset is going to be looking at the quality of your thoughts. How good are they? Are they good? Are they helpful? If you had a team, maybe you're a landscaper, and then we can talk about business later, and you're a landscaper and you had a team of people who would do the lawn work, the weeding, all of the different things that the landscape team does. Do you want someone who's going to be a good worker or someone who's going to be a lazy worker? I think you're going to probably want someone who's a good worker, right? And our mind can be that good worker or that lazy worker. Most of the time, our mind is naturally lazy. So that means our mind wants to be that lazy worker. And we have to basically kick our mind in the butt saying, hey, we're not going to be lazy today. So get up and start acting right. So it all depends on how your thoughts are flowing through your mind. Are they good thoughts or are they poor thoughts, right? Good choices, poor choices. We want to start to fill our life with better choices. And that's what I help people do as a mindset coach, where I'm able to see their life, ask them what they would like, really dive deep into figure out their why, and then I recommend certain ways that we can get to that goal. Now, of course, you don't have to listen to me, but then what's the point of hiring me, right? What I'm offering you is the best course of action to get to your goal. I'm also looking at your obstacles, your roadblocks, who you are as a person, the quality of your mind, how your mind is going, because when you start that change, one big hurdle that many people have to get over is that our mind is going to be fighting us, especially when we're about to make the shift to a new mindset. That old mindset is afraid to let go of our conscious thoughts. So we're thinking about our old way and we're trying to get to the new way. And as long as people are holding on to the old part of them, they can never create space for the new part of them. So it's kind of like you have to be brave in order to get mindset coaching. You have to be willing to let go of what you were to have a new type of person per se. And that uncertainty is not helpful for the brain, because the brain is like, this is uncertain. I don't think this is going to work. And it's not about the money, because you can always make more money. You can always get more money for coaching. It's more so of, will this put me in a place that's going to be worse? Now, I almost act like a fiduciary too. I don't put anyone in a place that's going to be worse. I will tell you that I do demand good work ethic. So I'm going to challenge you every single day, every single week. So expect to show up. If you don't show up, then it's kind of like, well, let's take a look again. What's going on? You told me last week you want this, but this week we're not doing everything that we're supposed to. And they might come in and they might come up with some excuses and they say, oh, well, I was busy with work and, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for all those excuses. They're not helpful. Then I give them excuses. If they're a follower or a leader, depending on that type of mindset, they get different excuses. Followers are typically easier to explain than leaders. A follower, I would say, so you would go to your boss and say, hey, boss, I can't come into work today. Can you do all the work for me, please? Probably the boss is going to say, what's wrong with you? No, I'm not going to do the work for you. Either do the work or I'm going to find someone who can do the work. Keep your job or lose your job. A little bit different for leaders. For a leader, we just have to understand their motives, the reasons why they are leaders, what their goal is. So we have to look at their goal. Let's say their goal is to be number one ranking in their field, right? So we just look at their competitor and we just talk about the disparity. Well, your competitor just did this month. What's happening with us? You just told me that you couldn't do something. This is a huge margin gain that we could have had that didn't occur because you have an excuse. This excuse didn't make us any more money. This excuse is not going to help the company. This excuse is not going to help you get to number one. So do you really want to be number one or do you want to keep being number two? Let me know. Maybe a little bit of rough around the edges, right? But they need that. A leader needs that. They need that kick in the butt because typically the people who follow them won't. So they need someone to hold them accountable. Changing your mindset is not so much 1, 2, 3, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort. We have to dive deep into that energy pool and give every bit we got. But the outcome, that could be whatever we want. It could be abundance. It could be success. It could be happiness, whatever you want. That can be the end result of the mindset. But just because we got there doesn't mean it stays there. That's a destination that will never be reached mentally because happiness is always short-lived. Happiness actually survives less than our negative counterparts. So I would actually be negative longer than I will be happy because the things that make us happy eventually become dull. The endorphins that our brain typically sends to us, not as powerful, not as much. So we have to always be in the mindset of continually working toward something, toward creating something, toward being more, rather than just, well, I did this in my life, I got here, now it's time to relax. That's a death sentence. And like I said, the mindset that you want is going to be determined by you, and then that mindset will most likely change your current circumstances. Now, I can almost guarantee if you have a lazy mindset, you can keep a lazy mindset and your circumstances probably won't change much. Now, as you get older, you will notice a huge change and regret starting to seep in. We can avoid all that regret. We can avoid all that trouble, but we have to act today. So yes, can changing our mindset change our life? Of course, but you have to be open and allow it. And this blog right here of changing your mindset and how it affects your life is going to give so many other examples that we didn't have an opportunity to talk about in today's episode. But I do encourage you to read the blog and then get a good understanding of, well, where is life? Where does life begin for me? Maybe it begins in the home. Maybe it begins at work. Maybe it begins just looking at yourself in the mirror and realizing this is not who you want to be. Your mindset, again, is determined by you. And you have to ask yourself at some point, are you happy with the road you're on? Maybe you don't like it. You can change that scenery. But this blog is going to be a great step for you to understand how to change your mind. And then, of course, figuring out if the mindset shift that you're in is affecting your life for the better or the worst. And again, I understand that changing your mindset is not going to be the easiest thing in the world. It's the same thing as losing weight. It is easy to gain weight, but when you want to lose the weight, that's where all the problems come. That's where the sweat and the pain and all the agony comes, and you're like, man, I'm so out of shape, but we have to get over that hump to get to health. And the same thing is true with our mind. We have to get over that hump of our mind and start to think and be more positive. Now, how do we do that? Like I said, you can do it by yourself. You can figure out what steps you have to take in order to get to a better mindset. But if you're a type of person who says you want to do something, you set yourself up to do something, you self-sabotage yourself, then you're probably going to need a coach. And that coach is going to help you along the way understand and evolve your mindset to the more appropriate one that you're looking for. I know for me, even my current mindset will eventually evolve. I understand that. And I'm going to have many different paths that I'm going to walk down. What do? Do I just say, well, I got to this place and everything is good? No, I understand the importance of maintenance. So I'm going to maintain as much as I can, as much as I have to. And then I'm also going to push and excel when I can. Some days you're not going to feel 100%, but you still have to show up and give 100%. Now, if you can give that 100% and a little bit extra, if you got some in the tank, why not? You're just going to be helping yourself out in the future. And I'm not saying give 110%, 120%. I don't believe in that. Give me 100% and we can make something out of it. Because many people are just out giving 40%, 50%. And that's not helpful. That doesn't get us to where we want to be at a rapid rate. People are going to be doing laps around us before we know it. So let's become more purposeful in how we think so our life can change for the better. My name is Michael Reardon. I'm a mindset coach here in Austin, Texas. If you have any questions, you can email me, coachingasession@gmail.com. If you want to work with me, head over to reverendconcepts.com and you can either book a consultation or sign up for one of our affordable membership packages. I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching a Session. Until then, everyone, take care.